New incoming CEO of Warner Media Discovery, the company being merged between Warner Media and Discovery taking place over the next year, David Zaslov lands in Hollywood this week and promptly proclaims,
"This town needs an enema."
Online. Yep. I think I'm going to like this guy a lot. I really, really do. The more I read about David Zaslov, the more I read his comments and his remarks, the more I see a very, very smart, shrewd businessman, very financially minded guy. He is looking to make content for consumers that consumers want, something that Hollywood has kind of forgotten. And I think it's because Zaslov really isn't from Hollywood. And I think this is exactly why AT&T CEO John Stankey has brought this guy in. I think if John Stankey felt like anybody at Warner Brothers and Warner Media, Jason Kilar included, knew what they were doing, this spinoff and merger that AT&T is doing with Warner Media would not be happening. And even if it was, then people like Kilar would be named the CEO of the new company going forward. They wouldn't be having David Zaslov come in and take his place, which is effectively what's going on. So let's talk about this, because I think there's a lot of interesting things here. I think there's a lot to talk about: the future of streaming services, the future of linear content, not only from Discovery or AT&T, Warner Media, but from everybody. How really rough. I mean, as young a streaming service as Discovery Plus is, it really makes Disney Plus look like a mess when you start looking at the numbers, which I did. So let's talk about this. So the article from Deadline hit. This is just from about 3 days ago, so it's still pretty new, and there's another one from Variety that's got some more information I'm going to follow up with. But the bottom line is this, is that David Zaslov walked in and said, "I am moving right into the Warner Brothers lot. I want to be where the content is made," he said during a long Q&A at Credit Suisse Bank. "It starts with the motion picture business, and no one can open a picture anywhere in the world like Warner Brothers. We will lean into the motion picture business because it is a real strategic advantage, because that's where stars are made. They didn't go to Hollywood to do a TV show that gets on a streaming service." Uh-oh. Okay, so let me tell you what that means. And Zaslov, as you'll see in this Variety article that we're going to discuss in a bit, because it's got some interesting numbers in it, he's really trying to make nice. He's trying to let everybody know, hey, I'm not coming in to fire everybody. I'm not coming in to make your life hell. I'm not going to come in and just crap on everybody that's there currently. But it's obvious what Zaslov is doing here, and he's being very, very clear about this. He is recognizing and acknowledging and publicly stating the big problem that's going on in Warner Brothers right now. And again, like I said, if there wasn't a problem, Zaslov would not be coming in to take over. Period. End of story. And this all goes down to the decision of Jason Kilar late last year, when he announced, or early this year rather, when he announced that all of Warner Brothers' big theatrical properties were going to be released day and date in tandem with theaters onto HBO Max, basically undercutting the theaters, undercutting box office revenues. And I don't think that went over well. And especially after we saw what Kong vs. Godzilla did its opening weekend, especially what we saw with Mortal Kombat, things like this. These were movies that performed relatively well in their openings, in their theatrical releases in the past few months. And you have to go back and ask yourself, if the same thing had not been available at the same exact moment on HBO Max, would the theatrical box office revenues not have been higher? Of course they would have. And even with a 30 or 45 day window in theaters, those movies could have then been dropped on HBO Max 6 to 8 weeks later. And people still would have subbed to it because they want to see these things. They could have delayed the Blu-ray releases, the physical media releases, further out. And that would have brought people onto HBO Max. So my point is that I think there was a strategic business mistake made with that. I've said it since the beginning. And here it is. So back to the article. We have some really good ideas, but we're going to learn a lot over the next few months, and we will come to you with our strategy outside the U.S. when we're ready. Inside the U.S., we also have a very good idea of what we're going to do and how we can aggregate a massive audience. But I think we've got to wait for that, and we will be trying a lot of things. We'll look at how competitors are doing, how we're doing, and here's the kick line: listening to what consumers want. Damn, that's a novel idea. I never heard of that. You ever heard of that? I've never heard of that before. David Zaslav's heard of that before. Pepperidge Farm remembers. You know, again, you have to, if you're going to fix Hollywood, it cannot be fixed from within. You're going to have to start bringing more and more people from the outside to go in there and actually be the vaccine that takes out the plague that's in Hollywood. Because that's all they are these days anymore. These guys don't get it. These guys don't care. They live in a bubble. They think that everybody in the United States and everywhere else thinks just like they do, and they don't realize that their little bubble outside of a few counties out there really doesn't exist anywhere else. I mean, not in those kind of numbers. Yeah, you've got some pockets of it around the country, but most of the country just doesn't want to, they don't care about their crap anymore. They don't care about the political whining and whinging. It's just, we're done with it. This guy understands it. We're going to come in here and we're going to produce products that people want to see. It's all about distribution. It's about distributing as much of the content as possible to the widest audience. So you got to make it good. You got to give people what they want. Zaslov continued saying TBS and TNT viewed as declining linear assets. Now, I'm not sure viewed by who, but probably by Zaslov too. But should be considered for their sport portfolio, including NBA, MLB's, NCAA Division I. So basically what they're saying there is that, you know, assuming that they're talking about Zaslov recognizing as declining linear assets, and linear assets, linear television is television delivered to you by either a off-the-air broadcast or a cable TV provider or satellite TV provider, basically anything that isn't DTC or direct-to-consumer, which is a streaming service like Netflix or Disney+. So what he's basically saying is he recognizes that TNT and TBS have their value, but all of that value is in their contracts with Major League Sports or NCAA sports, basically things that are big revenue drivers. Apparently, the rest of the programming that those channels have at this point is not helping them. It's draining them, and that probably, you know, he's going to be looking at changing that, folks. TNT and TBS may become virtually exclusive sports leagues going forward. Don't be surprised. You might see that in the next few years. Now, the Variety article, the bulk of it, is David Zaslov, you know, kind of coming in and letting everybody know, hey, I think Warner Brothers is great. I think the team there is great. They have some amazing stuff, blah, blah, blah. You know, I love everybody there and all this kind of stuff. Look, he's doing what a good incoming CEO should do. He's letting everybody know, I'm not coming in to fire, you know, everybody in the house. I'm not coming in to rock the personnel boat. I want everybody to feel at ease. We just want to come in here and we want to make some great products and make some money for everybody and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he's trying to tamp it down, but he's acknowledging the structural problems that are going on in there. But there's some interesting quotes from this piece that I wanted to kind of bring up. We're going to have to earn the trust and respect of the full Warner team, said Zaslov. There's a lot we don't know that the Warner team is the best in the world at. We will be singularly focused on content, Zaslov said, adding that the new company, quote, starts with the motion picture business. Warner Brothers also has the greatest TV library in the world, he said. Quote, at NBC, we used to say must-see TV, but Jack Welch said Warner Brothers TV because all those shows were from Warner Brothers. So he's really talking them up, and he knows what he's got his hands on in terms of IP and content, which is great. That's exactly what they need over there. Now, the final section of this article brings up something to me is fascinating, and it's talking about the average revenue per user for Discovery Plus. Now, Discovery Plus is still relatively in its infancy. It's only a few months old, and the last official report we had was towards the end of February of this year, when I think it was 11 million subscribers were announced. So 11 million subs, and we can assume that they've had a decent little bit of growth since then. Let's say that now they're maybe at 15, maybe even 20 million. Discovery is a very popular network of channels. These are some of the most popular, some of the most watched cable network channels that are out there, consistently making revenue and have relatively low cost because, frankly, it doesn't cost that much to produce these kind of reality shows where they do fixing up houses or makeover stuff and things like that. But the two packages you can get right now from Discovery Plus, $4.99 a month for the ad-based service and $6.99 a month for ad-free. So $5 and $7 respectively. What's interesting in this article is that Zaslov mentions that they're generating almost $6 of revenue per month per user on ads. Ads. So the ad-based service you're paying $5 a month for, Discovery is making another $6 a month. They're making $1 more a month on the ad revenue per user than they are the actual fee to the user itself. It's incredible. And that just tells you how smart this guy is. Now, what this means for the rest of Hollywood and streaming services is this. Other people are going to take notice. And with Zaslov coming into Warner Media now, don't be at all surprised that within the next year, 2 at most, you're going to see a split-tier HBO Max, probably something similar. I would not be at all surprised. So they'll probably leave the $15 a month alone where it is now because HBO Max versus Netflix Max just doesn't have enough content, I think, really to back that up, at least in my opinion. However, if you then make another service from HBO Max for $9.99 a month with ads, and then Zaslov is able to generate another $5 a month in ad revenue, it's a big win. And people get options and they expand the size of their subscriber base. I think you could see that eventually coming to things like Disney, because here's the thing. Disney right now is making $4 average revenue per user per month. Way less than Discovery Plus, because of course Disney doesn't have any ads, and as it stands right now, U.S. subscribers are also subsidizing subscribers in other countries like India, where they pay a far lower rate than we do here in the States. So all this is probably going to see some changes in the next couple of years, but especially with a guy like Zaslov, an outsider coming into Hollywood, hopefully, the cure for the disease, that over time, give him time, that over time, things will slowly start changing, because what's going to happen is if he takes Warner Brothers back into a pure profit direction, generating content that consumers want, other studios are going to take notice when Warner Brothers starts producing more and more and more profitable product, and the other studios are still twiddling their thumbs, trying to make politically charged, woke SJW, stuff that they're making now that frankly nobody wants to see, or at least has a very, very small audience, especially for the budgets they're spending. So stay tuned on this. I think this is going to be fun to see. I wish Mr. Zaslov the best from all of us fans out there who just are fans of classic Hollywood and want to see good movies, and we want to see a lot more good movies. We don't want to keep seeing the same things get rehashed over and over again. Just with different faces in it and stories that are far more, far inferior to the original versions anyway. So take care, have a good weekend, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share the video out if you liked it. Leave a comment. I'd be curious to see what you guys think about all this. Let me know. Take care.